Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Nigeria is on the brink of another industrial dispute in the university system, except goodwill prevails. The federal government has insisted that university lecturers will not be paid for work not done, in line with a no work, no pay policy. At a media briefing in Abuja, the Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu, said the half salary paid to members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU is justified, insisting that governments will not pay for the months the lecturers were on strike. Now let's share the story by TVC News senior correspondent Femi Akonde with you.
The federal government is sticking to its gun and insisting on the no work, no pay policy it has adopted against members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Government says there will be no salary for the university lecturers in the period which they did not work. The federal government's position comes despite the protest by members of ASUU to express their dissatisfaction with the invocation of the no work, no pay policy of the federal government.
Has been called off.
The Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu, re-emphasized the government's position on Wednesday after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, when he fielded questions from State House correspondents.
The strike has been called off, and the government has paid them what is due to them. Well, I think that's the position of the government, that it is not going to pay anyone for work not done. And they only did, I think, the number of days that they were paid.
The minister also denied claims that the federal government was planning to casualize university workers.
But if you know the meaning of a casual worker, it is impossible to make a university lecturer a casual worker.
The Federal Executive Council also approved more than 5 billion naira for printing of sensitive and non-sensitive materials for the National Examination Council, NECO, and another 3.2 billion naira was approved for the perimeter fencing of the Uthman Danfodio University in Sokoto. Council approved more than 2 billion naira for the procurement of operational vehicles for the Federal Road Safety Corps. The special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, disclosed that the contract for the purchase of the vehicles was given to local auto manufacturers. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, so across the world, the right to strike is one of the most cherished possessions of trade unions. I would like to know, what is the implication of this no work, no pay policy by the federal government? MJ?
Honestly, it's like at times I feel probably there is a demon in that ASUU rock that makes the minds of some people very rigid, and particularly very sensitive when it comes to the issue of teachers, because my parents, the two of them, are still alive. My mom and my dad retired as teachers, and I know how passionate they could be. You can see the arrogance with which the Minister for Education is speaking, and Ngige is even worse. See, these people went on strike. It took the intervention of the Speaker of the House of Reps, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, for them to call off the strike. Even after the President gave Professor Adamu Adamu, who used to be a lecturer himself, after he gave him a 2-week ultimatum to resolve the crisis, and he couldn't get it done in more than 2 months, took the intervention of Gbajabiamila on the prompt, after a prompt from, of course, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for this truce to be brokered, and now they want to fritter it away. Now, I think we need to let Nigerians know they were paid only half of October, and they stopped paying them since February. So which means March to September, they didn't give them any pay. And you expect these guys to go just fold their arms? Are you telling us that they don't have a right to go on strike after federal government has breached several agreements? And we have lawmakers in the National Assembly there that do next to nothing, and each of them collects a minimum of 30 million per month. So, and you expect this, you don't expect these guys to just fold their arms. And I think it's just arrogance, and nobody should blame ASUU when they go on strike again.
All right, so obviously, ASUU has accused the federal government of alleged onslaught against intellectualism.
I think that is obvious. It's obvious. It's the action of the government portrays leaders that do not really care about what goes on in the universities or about the education of Nigerian youths. It's as if the federal government does not even know the implication of the strike in the first instance. As a matter of fact, a typical federal university in Nigeria now has lost 2 academic sessions.
Yeah.
So, which means that there are backlogs of candidates that have already gained admission through the UTME who are still at home. In fact, this last admission, I think less than probably 5 or whatever thousand, less than 5% was admitted because only the private universities and some state universities could take in candidates. Now you are not even thinking about those children, the people that are being affected. You know, we are talking about people that just leave school with high hopes of going to uni, and they are at home. You don't even think about the psychological effects of keeping these people at home for upward of 2 years. I can tell you for free, a colleague, because his daughter, in fact, he was told in private that, look, your daughter can't get admission to Unilag until 2024. This is after ASUU resumed because there is a backlog.
Yeah.
So that girl now, the father had to be looking for private university, and all of that. So it's a messy situation. When you see a government that reacts the way this government is doing, all you can just conclude is that it's an onslaught, not only against intellectualism, but against the youths of this country. Look, we are talking about give and take here, bargaining and all of that. This is a union that went on strike for 9 good months. This is the worst strike that ASUU has ever embarked on because they didn't gain anything from this strike. They gained nothing. Rather, they gained embarrassment. I could say they gained victimization. In fact, everything that is you cannot imagine is what they are going through now. I think the right thing for government to do is just to pay them and let's move on from there. I think that is the best way and the way to peace.
All right, MJ, your final take on this.
Yeah,
what is Olabisi has mentioned some opinion. What's the way out of all of this?
Yeah, I still want to plead with members of the National Assembly, especially probably the Speaker again, and the Senate President to intercede once more and allow reason to prevail by pleading with the federal government. I mean, to ensure that these workers are paid, because I read one of the banners while the Unilag lecturers were protesting yesterday. You know, they had a protest from the Julius Berger building up to Unilag gates, where they said it's like a casualization of intellectualism, and that some wrote that Ngige is, while the teachers are teaching the nation, Ngige is cheating the teachers. And I think I want to agree with them, honestly. But I believe, I urge the leadership of the National Assembly and other concerned stakeholders in this nation state called Nigeria to call the federal government to order, because we can't afford another strike. Like she said, we have a backlog of 2 admission sessions now, waiting. The other day, one of the universities matriculated 4,000 students. And ordinarily, they shouldn't take more than 1,500. They have to do combined matriculation. Now, students are writing exams on Saturdays and Sundays, just for in a bid for the lecturers to catch up. I mean, but how do you expect very good products from a crashed academic calendar.
All right.
So those are the effects of what the federal government is doing.
All right,
to
thank you very
universities.
much.